And look who's back, and with actual content this time. Yes, I actually finally got to the range in a timely manner. I was able to secure the more free area of use, and I was able to set up my chronograph. And as the title of this video has already let you know, I tested some 9mm ammo. 9mm ammo that I have carried at one point or another, whether on duty, off duty, or in whatever various 9mm pistol that I might be carrying for my my defensive purposes. Before I get started, it is now, as I record this, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get this video together. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so the election has already passed. I'd like to thank all the swing states out there for giving us 4 years of Biden-Harris. You notice I didn't say 4 years of Joe Biden because it remains to be seen whether crazy Uncle Joe is going to be allowed to survive this term. Let's face it, folks, if the Democrats wanted Joe Biden to be president, they would have not forced him to step down in 2016 in favor of Kankle's Clinton. So we'll see what the next 4 years bring us. But, you know, good job, swing states. You wait to see this shit show. Now, that's the only politics I'm going to do. 9mm. The ammos that I'm going to be testing, I'm not going to go nuts because there was an ammo shortage, and the dog's already making noises. There was an ammo shortage. But I tested what I had in my closet, and what I always have in my closet is, as I refer to, the NYPD specials, which is the Speer Gold Dot, 124 grain, and the dog wants to go out just as I start the video. 124 grain plus P. Can you wait till I get through this segment, you son of a bitch? What I also have in my closet, since I had the Sig V-365, I decided to get a little saucy, and I picked up a couple of boxes of these just to see. And this is 115 grain V-Crown. It's optimized for concealed carry, and seeing as how it's kind of named after the gun, I expected good things on those. Another Sig product, another V-Crown product, these 9mm NATO rounds. These are actually full metal jackets, as I believe. No, they're jacketed hollow points. They're also plus P, 124 grain. We'll see how they work out for us. And then I finished up my test with a couple of offerings from Underwood. I tried the old 90 grain Underwood 90 grain plus P pluses, and as we see by the box, they cost me $39.98 for a box of 20. And let's see. They're claiming 1,550 feet per second on these. Let's see how close they come on that. And I also ran a heavy favor. Actually, a viewer suggested these. And I always toyed with the idea, but I'm going to toy with them more after the results of these tests. And it's the 124 grain plus P plus. These are also jacketed hollow points. I believe the 90 grains were the old, were these things for the 90 grains. So yeah, and these were rated at, they're claiming 1,300 feet per second. So we'll get to see, now they have a chronograph, how accurate these predictions are. In fact, you know what? Who else predicts? The M17s don't predict. These things are claiming 1,050 feet per second, which is not much for prediction. I guess that's for short barrels. Anyway, that's the ammo I did. Quick tests. My test guns were the Glock 19. This is a Gen 4 with a 4-inch barrel. Wink, wink. This barrel is probably closer to the 3-inch range, but they count the chamber with semi-autos. And for my short barrel offering, I went with my Sig P-365 with a wink, wink 3.1-inch barrel. But this really is under 2 inches on that barrel. So that's what I brought. And also, just for shits and giggles, because remember I said I was going to see if there was any appreciable difference with different generations of the exact same gun, shooting the exact same ammunition. I brought the old Gen 2 around just to see, just as like kind of like a base or a test, to see if there is any appreciable difference. Because, you know me, I'm all about the science. I'm going to take a quick break to let this goddamn dog out. And then I'm going to go into the testing procedures that I used. And we're back. The dog is relieved. I'm relieved. We're all relieved. Now, the testing. You'll see in the videos that it's difficult to tell what the camera I was using because I went with like kind of like a POV thing with the GoPro on my head. So the chronograph will seem a lot closer than it actually was. It's closer than normal. Generally, you see most people testing at 7 yards because that's what the FBI said. Blah 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 blah. Me personally, I'm not overly impressed with the FBI. I'm not really interested in what the FBI does all the time. I don't think they're God's gift to law enforcement. But I guess it's a good general rule, 7 yards. I just didn't have that area to play with because we can only work with what we got. I was close to about 10 feet, 12 feet, which some might say that's a little too close. But in my personal experience, from what I've seen, actual shootings that were going on, that's a very realistic distance. And to be perfectly honest, the difference between 10 or 12 feet and 21 feet or whatever it might be for 7 yards, honestly, when these rounds are traveling anywhere from 1,100 to 1,500 feet per second, is there going to be any appreciable dip in power and speed in the fraction of a second it takes to go another 10 or 12 or 15 feet? I don't think so. And even if I did think so, we can only work with what we got, right? So you'll see, I basically went up to the chronograph. I fired each of these rounds through all of my test guns that I thought were applicable. And because, again, as much as I say it's not truly an ammo shortage in New York, in that if you walk into a gun shop, pretty much they have the exact same selection that they always did. It's just expensive. And, let's face it, I don't get any money for this. This is a hobby, and I like to hear myself talk. So I'm not going to blow off, I'm not going to go through boxes of ammunition just to do ballistic testing. So rather than firing 5 or 10 or a magazine, I did 3 rounds per gun per load. And that's really all I was willing to blow on this, because I mean, I need to have some of the stuff around to carry for when the Civil War breaks out, and also it costs a fortune to replace. So that was my format, and let's just get right into it. The first round I went with was the Speer Gold Dots. As I said, anyone who watches me knows, this is what the NYPD carried when I was still on the job. They've been carrying it for years. I think they're still carrying it. And I think it's a good, solid round. Let's take a look at how it did. Okay. Speer Gold Dot through the Glock 19 Gen 4. .1204. 1217. 1226. What the hell happened? That was fast. Yeah, what happened there was that, again, this is my first time doing this type of thing, and this is kind of a half-ass. No, it is a half-ass operation. I was working through my equipment and exactly how it works, and I couldn't hear my tone in my ear as to when the camera was on or off because it's on my head, and I can't see what's going on. So the 365 test and the Generation 2 test that followed that Generation 4 test were not recorded. Instead, I got recordings of me, tying my fucking shoes and taking more ammo out of the boxes. So take my word for it. I did fire the other 2 guns, and I believe I'm probably going to put a graphic up on there as to what it was. In fact, I know I'm going to put graphics for the breakdowns of each one. But the bottom line is, for my crib notes here, 1200, averaging 1216 feet per second, 1111 feet per second for the Sig. Good all-around performers. Over 400 foot-pounds of energy with the full-size gun, 340. It's a good, solid defensive round, and I guess that's why they carry it. You're not undergun carrying this stuff. And again, if you probably saw the graphic, the Generation 2, I only ran the Generation 2. I used the Generation 2 again later in this next one, but not for the reasons of trying to prove anything right or wrong. I saw that, when you look at the numbers between the Gen 2 and the Gen 4, 1216 average to 1224 average, 407 foot-pounds to 412 foot-pounds. I'm going to declare that, although it's certainly not an exhaustive bit of scientific evidence, I'm going to declare that there's going to be really no appreciable difference between the Gen 4 and the Gen 2. So I just don't want to waste the ammunition to have results that are within 5 feet per second of each other, okay? So that was my results on the Speer. The next up was my Underwoods. I went the 90 grain first, and I went then I followed up with the 124 grain. And you're gonna see with the 90 grain, I thought it was the round. In fact, I even cast dispersions on it after the first few times. It was just not. It was not working with this gun, and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? What the hell was going on? And it turned out later on. That's why I ran the Gen 2 on this one, just to see if it was the gun, and the Generation 2 ran it just fine. So I'll explain what happened after. Check out these video segments, and then I'll explain what happened after I put my thinking cap on and tried to figure out what was going on. Okay, 90 grain Underwood through the Generation 4. $15.46. Huh. Failed to feed. Very interesting. Let's try this again. $15.32. And I will not be carrying these. And $15.80. And a failure to eject. So basically, who cares what it is? And let's see how this runs in the Sig. This is a 90 grain. 1431, 1438, 1457. Just for fun, we'll run them through the Generation 2. 1524. 1522, 1507. Very interesting. Oh, some shit show, huh? And now that I'm watching that again, when I was falling on an empty chamber, I got to work on that anticipation shit. That is a training issue. Long story short, I don't know what the fuck was going on. What I broke it down to was it was a magazine issue, and this is the magazine that was causing the issue. This is the magazine that came with my Generation 4, and I've chronicled my adventure in getting a new 15-round magazine in New York State, and because it was an exact model, it's the same model as my duty gun, I was able to buy it because it's kind of a suitable replacement type of clause, and it came with 3 15-round magazines, high-capacity magazines. These are the brand new ones that came with my Generation 4. This is an example of the magazine that the NYPD issued us for our Generation 2. And you'll notice it says for law enforcement use only on it, and it's got all kinds of crap written on it. I can't see any real difference as to what would cause this to happen. But this magazine, they're not backwards compatible as it turns out, the Generation 2 and Generation 4, at least with the magazines that the NYPD issued. This magazine would not feed at all into my Generation 4. It wouldn't even when I put it in, and you saw when I slingshot it, it wouldn't take it. I had to lock the slide back, insert the magazine and then drop and then let the slide go forward for it to strip one off. It was causing all kinds of problems, and for the life of me, I don't know why that is. So, important safety tip. To who, I don't know. It's I guess it really only applies to a very select group of people, retired NYPD guys who transitioned over to the 9mm early 90s, like in the first few waves of transition, who picked the Glock and got the Gen 2 and were then issued these other magazines later on in your career, and now you're retired and you're a lunatic like me who wants to get another Glock 19 for some reason. And so I guess for that specific group, I might be the only one in New York State, but for that specific group of guys, if you got these magazines, be real careful. Test them out in your Gen 4, because you're going to find yourself gunfighting, if you just then have the dick in your hand. So make sure your magazine works. I would have never thought there'd be an issue. That aside, what do we get with the Underwood 90 grains? Well, we got one thing, is that on the box it says 1550 feet per second, and my average in the generation in the Gen 4 was 1556. I actually got a couple of rounds off there, 1556. So Underwood is dead on with their predictions, as you saw in the graphic. 484 feet per second. That's no joke. 1,442 feet per second average in this little thing for 416 foot-pounds of energy. Just so you know, you saw the Generation 2, 1518, which is a little less, bit of a substantial drop from 1556 in the Gen 4, but not enough for me to waste ammunition in it, because it's not like it's like 1,300 feet per second, It's still within one round to the next, kind of. But anyway, pretty impressive 90 grain. Speed does kill. I just worry a little bit about, well, you're not going to underpenetrate with these things, that's for sure. So maybe if you're going to run this and having it travel so fast, you're worrying about it just kind of splattering and stopping within 6 or 7 inches. Maybe with this tip, it will actually penetrate. And with that kind of speed and that kind of energy, this might be something to consider. I'm still a little, only because I'm kind of an old man, I'm not really sure if I want to carry something that's kind of that far out of the norm for bullet weight, but I'll definitely consider it, because you can't discount 1,440 feet per second in a snub nose, in a concealable pistol like this. That's some serious stuff. Let's see what the 124 grains did now. Okay, we're going Underwood again, 124 grain. This time, see if the G4 likes it better. 1294, 1302, 1331. All right, not bad. Okay, 124 grain Underwoods through the Sig 365. 1222, 1184, 1222. Okay, 124 grain. As you saw, flawless function for that limited amount of rounds fired. Flawless function, and as you saw in the graphic, this is no joke. What they predict? 1,300 feet per second. 1309 out of the 4-inch barrel. So I will say this for Underwood, they don't bullshit you. This is not a 9-inch barrel target pistols or some weird thing like that. This is probably one of the most common concealed carry or duty pistols in the world, and they put an approximate value on their box at feet per second. And goddamn, if I didn't exceed it if they came within 9 feet per second, and they didn't fall short. They fell short. I beat it by 9 feet per second on an average. So good job by Underwood. I know there's a reason why I like them so much. And what did we get? 1309 feet per second out of a 4-inch barrel for 472 foot-pounds. that's that's you're getting real there. That's an actual nice round. That is a real nice round. And even more impressive is out of this thing, 1,200 exactly, wow, and exactly 100 feet per second less. 1,209 feet per second out of this gun for 402 foot-pounds of energy. Now, I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence by starting that whole thing with 9mm is just as powerful as 357 Magnum, because it's not. However, I can't argue the fact that the man I keep quoting on this channel, especially when it comes to this gun, Paul Harrell, with golden sabers, which are admittedly, on the mild end of 357, with this gun, with a similar barrel length, this is under 2 inches, this is under 2 inches. With a similar barrel length, there he was getting 1,200 feet per second out of that 357 Magnum with the golden sabers. So, you're getting what's happening with this. Hold on. There you go. Hope you didn't see that. It's an update thing. I wasn't porn or anything. For 1,200 feet per second of a 125 grain bullet, I'm getting 1,200 feet per second out of a 124 grain bullet, and this carries 11. This goes up to 11. This carries 11. This carries 5. You know what? In this configuration, this is as powerful as one type of 357 Magnum. So I will call that one confirmed. Now this is heavier. This is a little more difficult to conceal than this, but still, you're getting 11 rounds of this. Is 11 rounds of this. This is a 357 Magnum snub nose. This is matching it with this ammunition. This is matching it. So this is called foreshadowing. There might be a change in my future plans. On to the next. The next ammo I tried, I believe, was this optimized for concealed carry bullshit. Oh, sorry, 365 ammo from Sig. That might be more foreshadowing. Let's see how it turned out. Okay, 365 V-Crown. G4. 1176, 1199, 1193, and now to 365. 1100, 1091, and 87. Okay, so what can I say? Compared to the Underwood, it pushed a lighter bullet about 120 feet per second slower. I don't know what it's optimized for. It might be optimized for Jack and shit, and Jack just left town. I mean, I will not be buying any more of this. I personally don't see the point of it. For that number, when averaging 1189 feet per second out of a 4-inch barrel, it's decent. Is it good? No, but is it decent? It's decent. On a positive note, it's predicting 1050 feet per second, and out of the Sig 365, mine anyway, it went 1092 feet per second for foot-pounds of energy of 304. Okay, I mean, that's nice. I don't want to get shot with it. But I mean, let's be honest. When I could put the Underwood 124 grain, which is a heavier bullet, and it's gonna push it at 1,200 feet per second as opposed to 1092, we're picking up almost 100 foot-pounds more of energy. It's just not, I guess. And like, it's not like in shooting this, I was going, oh, this is a dream, and that Underwood is beating me up. No, I mean, you're looking at the recoil impulse. You're looking at it through my eyes. You're seeing my hands. Is the gun jumping an appreciable amount? Is it going to be any different for you? 9mm is not exactly a heavy kicking round. I don't know exactly what this is optimized for. Now, look, it has the V-Crown bullet. Maybe I'm not shooting gel. I'm not shooting meat targets. Maybe this thing is fucking deadly. Maybe the bullet performs perfectly. Maybe it penetrates perfectly. Maybe it's just, you know, it's God's gift to 9mm ammunition. Just in the very basic science that I'm doing here with these numbers, it's kind of underpowered. And again, not only is it the slowest out of all of them, it's the lightest bullet. It's pushing the lightest. Well, no, sorry, a 90 grain. But let's face it, the 90 grain bullet was going 1,500 feet per second. So, you know, there's light and then there's light. This is, you know, it's the, other than a 90 grain, it's lighter than all the rest of the 124s. It's the lightest bullet, and it's going slow by a large margin. Not for me. Next up is going to be the M17 ammo. Let's see how it does. It should be. It's a plus P, 124 grain. Again, it's that V-Crown bullet. Let's see how it does. Okay, M17. $12.18. And a failure. What is going on with this gun? $1,200 and another failure. And I bet it's not going to work unless I lock the slide open. Magazine. I'm going to make this a longer video.
I did look it up though. I want you to know that. And I did. Well, you're not supposed to trust the targets.
Okay, let's try it again. I'm not going to lock the slide back. And a failure. What a fucking disaster this is. $11.90. $12.24. 33. The Sig. $11.14. $11.52. $11.43. And that was a bit of a shit show too, right? At least on that one, finally, midway through that video, the light bulb went over my head, and I said, maybe it's a magazine issue. And sure enough, that's why I verified. I went to the indoor portion of this range later on to verify my suspicions. But yeah, you know, spoiler alert, it was a magazine issue. Good job. This ammo did a very good job. If I could pull, I know I gave you guys the graphic, but I have my own cheat sheet right off to the side here. You know, hey, listen, out of the 4-inch barrel, 1,216 feet per second, which oddly enough absolutely exactly matches the average on the Speer Gold Dot on my service pistol, on service-sized pistol. And the at 1136 feet per second, this actually beats out the Speer Gold Dot. So, you know, if there wasn't an elephant in the room, this was actually a good choice. I liked it. I'll get to this in my recap. But good job. It felt well. I've fired a bunch of this. It's reliable. I don't know about the terminal properties of the actual bullet because again, I'm not shooting reactionary stuff as far as meat targets or gel or anything like that. But good, solid offering. I happen to like it. That wraps up my tests. I think I'll put a. Let's do. I went inside because the second part of this video is going to be a. I never did actually do any real shooting with the Gen 4 when I have it with the flashlight and the mag and the extended slide release and everything. I went inside. I just did some quick shooting. I also wanted to test out that magazine. But before that, maybe I will give my thoughts on this ammo segment. All right, so what's the takeaway on this 9mm test? I love saying that. What's the takeaway? My takeaway is this: that if I had the money and if I had the money to waste, and I didn't already have about 800 rounds of this laying around, I would switch to this in all of my 9mm carry and home defense guns tomorrow. Okay, immediately. Because I'm very impressed with it. In the full size gun. It beats the Speer Gold Dots by almost 100 feet per second in the Glock 19, adding real power. And in the smaller barrel, it pretty much does the same thing. It kind of kicks the ass out of the Speer in my Sig P365. So I have too much of this to just sit, because this is great ammo. Don't get me wrong, this is great ammo, but I'm thinking I'm going to try and transition my arsenal over to more of this. And once that happens, my home defense gun will have the Underwood 124 grains in it. However, I do have enough of a stockpile of this where this is immediately transitioned. This is what this is loaded with right now. That's why I'm not doing cartwheels with it. This is what I carry in it now. I think this really turns this into, again, it's a poor man's version of a snub-nosed 357 Magnum, only with the quick magazine, with the quick reloads and the high capacity. I really like it. And let me circle back with my comments earlier, especially with 357. Please, I do not want to start a caliber war. That is so boring. I've already said I love 357 Magnum, and in a full-size gun, there's no comparison. And with hot 357 Magnum loads in a full-size gun, no, 9mm does not even nearly as powerful as 357 Magnum. I'm just saying, in packages this size, there's an ammo choice in this that matches the ballistics of what I'm willing to carry in this very light gun, and this gives me 11 rounds and a quick mag change as opposed to 5 rounds and fumbling with chiclets. Okay, so in that narrowly focused avenue, the 9mm is superior for me than the 357 Magnum for that, and in almost no other way but in that. So please don't bury me in caliber war comments, because I'm just not interested in that. But with that said, yeah, out of today's test, this is our winner. I guess I'll put up a graphic before you see me talk right now. I'll put up one more graphic with everything, I guess, so you can see it for your own eyes. But that's pretty much the skinny on it. This M17, good stuff. Good stuff. In fact, if it wasn't for this, I could say the same thing. The M17 was an exact match for this in the full-size gun and performed better in the snub nose, in the 365. Good stuff, not overpriced. I like it. Again, it's going to just be something I keep around, but I'll never have a ton of it because it is essentially this, and I have hundreds and hundreds of rounds of this that I purchased and took with me from the job. So that's pretty much where that sits. And as far as this, when you get stuff like 90 grains, I always toy with this, and I don't know what to do about it. I mean, Am I going to carry a 90 grain with a Phillips head screwdriver tip? I mean, I don't know. You know what? I have to get myself to a place where I can shoot things like, ice block, frozen, ice things and reactionary stuff, and see what this does, and make sure I can put enough rounds to this that I know it's going to feed reliably. Maybe I will, especially, look, when you're talking about 1,442 feet per second average and 416 foot-pounds of energy in this tiny little gun, with this bullet traveling that fast, it's always very tempting. I just don't know. I mean, you guys let me know what you would think. If you have experience carrying this over, not this, over Speer, over 124 grain. If you guys are out there, by all means, let me know if you think that this is the move to go. It's tempting to do it. 1,400 feet per second out of a little gun. It's tempting to do 1,500 feet per second out of that full-size gun. It's tempting to make that jump. I just don't. I'm a little scared. And as far as this is concerned, this is a gimmick. If you guys have any real reason why I would want to have a lighter bullet going slower than everything else, you by all means put in a comment section. I don't claim to be a genius. Maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe there's some secret of the universe written in this tiny little glossy writing on the back of the box that will explain to me why anybody would ever want a 115 grain bullet that's traveling 100 feet per second slower than a 124 grain bullet out of the same goddamn gun. So, I don't know. That's my 9mm tests. Take it for what it is. I hope to do 357 soon, because with that crossover of, how they can cross sometimes on that bar graph, on that line graph, I'd like to find the sweet spot and see where it is. So I'll see what that is. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of 357s to choose from. I guess I got to get a 4 or a 5-inch barrel 357 Magnum. The GP100 will have to serve for these tests, and I'm sure it's going to serve admirably. And I really am curious to see what kind of velocities I'm going to get out of it, and the difference when you drop down to such a small barrel. And I'm going to finish up this video with, I went to the inside, and I'm just going to do some shooting footage. I did one GoPro thing, and I did some functionality tests where I really narrowed it down to the ammo. And I just basically did some quick shooting, showing how it brings it up and how quick it is to put on that light, just for the hell of it, because hey, who doesn't like shooting? I'm undecided as to whether or not I'm going to put a mailbag segment on the end of this, because it tends to make these videos longer. But maybe to be a little surprised. If you see me back reading mail to you after this video footage of the indoor range shooting, then hey, Merry Christmas. And if not, thanks for watching. Please leave your comments and any advice you might have for me, because I had some interesting results on this 9mm tests. All right, I'll do mailbag. I'll be honest with you. I'm only doing the mailbag on this because when am I just going to do another video for just me reading mail? So I'll stick it at the end of this thing. And also, if you saw those two video segments, I don't know if I'm going to put three on, but the two video segments that I shot, you notice when I verified the bad magazine, I had the thing marked. I actually drew on it. That's what I was looking for on that third magazine change. And if you notice, I wanted to make sure to put the slide forward and load it and see if it would work on a slingshot. And sure enough, every time it would not feed. And on the last segment, when I just blew off my remaining ammo, you'll see I started off from a slingshot just to verify that, as if, load up and slingshot it over. And also, because again, I never really did do a full test on this with all the goodies I put on it. This is my first gun where I actually installed a magwell and have like a real dedicated magwell. And, I don't hate to admit it, but, usually I'm kind of against all kind of little trick stuff like that. It made a difference. It really made a difference. In the shooting I did that day, I didn't put all of it on video. On the shooting I did that day, it really, at least on this particular one that I got from the Glock store, this was a good pickup. It feels good in my hand, and it really made the magazine changes. I never would have thought, usually you see stuff like that, and it's like, oh yeah, you really need that Buffy. That made a difference, along with this just delicious extended slide stop. So, okay, mailbag, real quick. I don't know how, I lost a lot of comments because I thought I could just go back and keep doing them. I take screenshots so I can read them to you quickly. I lost a lot of comments because I did kind of a couple of week gap and it pushes them off the back, and I'm a YouTube idiot. YouTube idiot. I don't know how to get them back. So sorry about that, but let's just get what I got. Douglas Brink, he's commenting on the one where my wife actually got on video. Sweet video. He's asking for recommendations on P365 holsters. He'd like to see if Shiv warms up to 365. He's got a Ruger SP101, Spurless Hammer, Jack Weingart, Tame the Beast modifications, his first carry. Looking for an S&W 686 3-inch, but impossible to find in Massachusetts. Oh, you live in Massachusetts? My condolences. Love the channel, much appreciated. I don't know if I can give actual holster recommendations. What I carry my 365, and honestly, this is an Amazon. I got this off of Amazon. CYA, I guess it stands for cover your ass. Nice little Kydex holster. It works. It fits great. I've had luck with We the People holsters, and I was getting a little saucy. I got this blue line. The law enforcement blue line one for nice inside the pants, inside the waistband carry. But here's my issue, and I'm not here to knock We the People holsters. I think they're a good product, but look at how far that big hump. It makes the gun feel like you have a full size. It feels like I have my 629 stuff down my pants with this thing. What's with this hump here that makes the holster so wide? And also, why is it white on the inside? And also, it just doesn't fit right. So in my sampling of two, go on Amazon and get a CYA. It's pretty cheap, and if you have Amazon Prime, they deliver it to you for free. That's my recommendation. Thanks for the view. Thanks for the comments, and I do appreciate them. I hope I don't know if that helped you, but hey, what else we got? Paul H. Oh, with the problems I was having with the 1911. It's a 1911. Shouldn't be surprised. Okay, Paul, you don't like 1911s. I get it, but that really, in all fairness to my SR 1911, those are the first malfunctions I had, and I'm blaming the ammo on that one. George, great video, has a 360J that he's carried since 2013. Perfect for use, just the way he subscribed it. And actually, a law enforcement friend talked me into carrying it, but described its use in a little more colorful language. Try the Underwood 38 plus P 125 grain Gold Dot at 1200 feet. Really? Am I really going to get 1200 feet per second from Underwood? Actually, I kind of believe it. You know what? I think I might have picked up a box of that. Maybe I'll when I get out there for the 357, maybe I'll throw it in there. Yeah, if it's going to give similar performance, I am going to try that in this thing. See if I can carry some Underwood 38 Special plus Ps in there. Dave Mustaine said, finally someone agrees these airweight J-frames will not cause your wrist to snap. I watched so many videos before purchasing mine. All I heard was crying men that were almost teary-eyed saying, oh my God, it's like shaking hands with the devil. Actually, I like that, shaking hands with the devil. I wish I'd come up with that. He picked one up. He has his tricked out. Strip out. Okay, good. I'm glad you like it. I like it too, Dave. And yeah, it's not like shaking hands with the devil. I guess it all depends on how hot you want to load it, but it's definitely a very usable firearm. Pops McCarthy, thank God your wife is better looking than you. Keep up the good work. Well, let's face it, Pops, that's not a very high bar being better looking than me. But yes, I'm very pleased to put my beautiful wife on camera as often as she lets me. What are your thoughts on the Car K9? I did actually respond to this. I wrote a response to Cameron Izat on the Car K9. I'll give you the recap here. I had a Car K9 for a few years, and I absolutely loved it. For a brief time, the NYPD authorized the Car K9 for off-duty carry, and at the time, it was the only option for a single stack 9mm. It was very slim, as you can imagine, although it was stainless steel, heavy, but it was very slim compared to the crap we had to carry. And I loved it. It was a sweet shooting gun. It was rock solid, reliable. I really, really loved it. Unfortunately, sometime around 2013 or so, 2012, or 2011 or 2012, some city politician didn't get their kickback around Christmas, and they decided that the Car K9 is no longer authorized for use by the NYPD. So we had to get rid of them. I wound up going to a gun shop that was doing a trade. I gave them my gun, and for $50, they gave me the Glock 26 with a holster and the magazines. And I do not like the Glock 26. I think it was too big. It wasn't much smaller than the Glock 19. I didn't like it at all, and I wound up getting rid of that and getting the Shield that I actually did like quite a bit until I got 365. I regret not just buying the Glock 26 and keeping the car, because I would have, if I had the car now, I don't know if it would have totally fit into my carry rotation with this on the scene, because this is the superior gun. It really is. But that car, I would have carried it occasionally, probably just for nostalgia. Also because it's such a good gun. It really was a good shooter. If you have one, congratulations. I should have kept it. At the time, my personal life at the time, I didn't have really a pot to piss in for personal reasons. So I couldn't justify buying another $500 Glock. I had to do the trade-in. But had I to do all over again, I would have definitely kept that K9. 4 inches, James Kinomus. 4 inches the best barrel for 357 Magnum. I know it's just an opinion. You get more velocity, and still, yeah. And I responded to him too. It's just an opinion, but it's a good opinion. I happen to agree with you. 4 inches is a great barrel length for 357. It's a great barrel length for 44 Magnum. 4 inches is a good barrel length for a revolver in general. When I purchased my GP100, I had a 3-inch barrel in mind from the get-go, because I wanted it for a specific purpose, and I've documented that purpose in many videos back in my library about my nightstand guns and things of that nature. But I will have to get a 357 Magnum in a 4 or 5-inch barrel in my future, because I love the caliber and I like the versatility of it. Jeff commented, press checks were a Marine Corps thing when the 1911 was a service pistol, and I think I might have responded to him too. I assumed press checks were originated in the military with older equipment. I kind of assumed that. I just don't see the purposes of me as a civilian doing them, just like this. But yeah, I kind of assumed that. Thanks for the info, Jeff. Let's see. On my 357 Magnum Part 2, Kevin Laney says guns should be 0 to 25 yards with factory sights. Mine will shoot 3 or 4 inch groups off a rest consistently with Remington Golden Sabres. Well, thanks for the info, Kevin. I am way too lazy to zero anything for the most part. If I'm missing from 10 feet away, then yes, I'll play with my sight. But for the most part, I prefer to just bitch about it on video. But thanks for the info. That's good advice. Nice gun. Again, with the 357 Magnum. Yeah, he thought he'd probably shoot plus Ps. And Kyle Wood thinks you lose a lot of velocity out of small barrel anyway. I don't know if you lose as much as people say, like that old saw that, geez, you lose so much velocity. you lose so much velocity with the short barrel, it's not even worth. You might as well just carry 38 plus Ps. I don't think that's the case, and Paul Harrell kind of agrees with me, and he kind of proved that out. But with the right 38 plus Ps, you have a good gun there. Yeah, pick one up. You can't go wrong with it. And Big Guy Little Bikes underneath that wrote, that's exactly the info I was looking for. Show weights with the ammo and the obvious mods. Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? Thanks. If ever I can do something on my silly channel that people like to see, then, more the better. Rancel Mella commented, amazing video, brother. Just watch this because I'm on the job and they authorized the P365. He's trying to convince myself to drop the money. Rancel, drop the money. It's a great gun. The Shield's a good choice, and the other ones they have authorized for duty now were a good choice. 365 is a superior gun. So if you can carry that as your off duty or your backup, by all means do it. It's a great gun. And you're still on the job now with what's going on in this country. You be careful out there, okay? Richard DiLorenzo commented, not that you fucking care, but I won't watch another of your fucking videos because I'm fucking tired of fucking reviews using fucking bad language. It serves no purpose. Well, you know what, Richard? You're right. I don't fucking care. So, thanks for the comment. Let's see. Let's start wrapping this up. Sixstream commented. He commented on my coronavirus videos. I can't even imagine not owning a gun. You feel naked. And these people don't know how fun shooting is. Very sad. And he also liked my comment, criminal in her pantsuit. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think I might have commented, other people, walk out of the house and they thought, damn, they got to go back. I forgot my cell phone. You go back in your house. I do that with firearms, and I'm sure a lot of you do also. I really do feel naked without one. And with what's going on, I don't understand why anybody wouldn't have a gun if they possibly could. Is that it? That's all my comments? All right. Quick mailbag. Okay, that really does wrap it up. This probably got a little longer than it should have. But again, if you don't want to watch the mailbag segment, by all means skip over it. I just didn't want to let these go to waste. And I'll try and keep more on top of it so there's not a huge gap in comments. But this really is the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Comments or suggestions, I'll certainly take them. I want to continue this ammo testing thing. I think I'll do 357 next. I want to do the 45 ACP as well. Maybe I'll throw in 38 specials in there too, and we'll just see where this goes. And maybe I could come up with more interesting ideas. Until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.